Life. We can either be bystanders or creators. Now is the time to awaken to your divine identity and the power of the I Am within, to create a joyous and fulfilled life no matter what your circumstances are. There are answers to life's big questions, and there is a spiritual path that you can walk in this modern world that leads to soul liberation and ascension. In this dawning age of Aquarius, we're called upon to manifest the light of the mighty I Am presence to the world.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fellowship Chronicles podcast. Today we're talking about the profound topic, the essence of divinity, the timeless quest to define the nature of God. Now this subject may not seem practical to you, but with so many people struggling and searching for meaning in their lives, I think it's quite relevant today because it addresses fundamental questions about existence, purpose, and morality. It offers us a framework for understanding our place in the universe and navigating the complexities of modern life. Now, this topic has been explored by theologians, philosophers, mystics, and scholars for millennia, and it varies significantly across different religious traditions, different cultures, and philosophical systems. But at its core, it represents the ultimate source, the foundation of existence, and the highest form of reality. Today we want to specifically discuss the infinite aspects of God as the one source of all things in relation to the more personal aspects of God as manifested in individual creations, such as man and woman, angels, elemental life, and other spiritual beings. Most of us have some concept of God, whether it's a man in the sky on a throne that conducts all human affairs and the affairs of the universe, or a more impersonal God that is light, energy, and intelligence. What if both things are true? Moses met God on Mount Sinai as the fire in the burning bush that was not consumed. God gave him instructions, and Moses asked, "Who are you? Who should I say sent me?" God answered, "I am who I am." Does this simple answer hold the key to understanding the true nature of God? What if we cannot put God in categorical terms to fit neatly into our physical reality? What if God is not a being, but being itself, the centralized organizing principle of all reality and from which all individualized creation comes forth? This concept is not new. The concept of ipsum es, which translates to being itself, was first brought forth by the philosopher and theologian St. Thomas Aquinas. He developed this idea in his metaphysical exploration of God's nature. What about God's individualized creations? The scriptures say that man was made in the image and likeness of God. Male and female, he created them. God created man, who is capable of permanently reuniting with God. He created angels who fulfill his will and are servants and helpers. He created elemental life that populated the earth. So is it unrealistic to think that God's organized universe is run by spiritual beings that have individual identity, like you and I have, only they're far more spiritually evolved and advanced to hold positions of leadership and governance in God's universe? Are man's leadership and governance actually patterned after God's? Is it unrealistic to believe that Jesus, the Son of God, is the archetype and example of what we as sons and daughters of God, irrespective of what religion you might follow, must become to also have our ascension and reunion back to God? Then we have those who say they do not believe there's a God at all. Maybe they're looking for that objectified reality, trying to prove God exists like a house exists. But God is not a being within creation, but the cause of creation. The only objectification that there is a God is the fact that you and I exist. That's why Jesus said, "What we do, the least of us, we do to him." We are all manifestations of God, the good, bad, and the ugly. We can either align with who we are as sons and daughters of God, or we can rebel, deny our true identities, and use our free will to create an ugly world. Someone once said that an atheist is someone rebelling against their mother's concept of God. There's probably a lot of truth in that. Jonathan Pageau, who's called a symbolic thinker, once said to atheists, "I don't believe in the God that you don't believe in." Scientists believe in the Big Bang Theory. Religion believes that all things came from a single source. Where's the conflict? What science calls energy, religion calls light. In reality, science and religion have a lot more in common than we acknowledge. Albert Einstein said, "The more I study science, the more I believe in God." Maybe we need to open ourselves to the reality that this universe did not just happen, that our physical bodies alone are sacred in our miracles and how they are created and function. Sir Isaac Newton, the mathematician and physicist, said, "In the absence of any other proof, the thumb alone would convince me of God's existence." Exploring the nature of God provides a foundation for understanding objective moral values and duties. Belief in a divine nature often frames concepts of right and wrong, influencing ethical behavior and decisions. By contemplating the nature of God, we can anchor our moral principles in something transcendent, which helps guide our actions and cultivate a sense of accountability and purpose in life. Going further and developing a personal relationship with God or with Jesus Christ, who personifies the incarnation of God for all of us to emulate, not just Christians. Jesus was a Jew. He transcends all human boundaries and should not be rejected simply because you are taught to do so. Embracing our own divinity is incumbent upon us if we want to not only lead a moral life, but ultimately reunite with our source.
Thank you for joining us today. And if you enjoyed this message, please subscribe and share. Until next time, be blessed and keep shining your light.